What's going on, guys? And welcome to Hero Meetup 17. And I'm Jan. And out of character, I am producing Justice for Hire with a wonderful team and a company called our startup called ReelwUrld, which is all about bringing, actually making stuff with a community, like in terms of movies and shows, commercials, etc., versus the audience being passive. So Justice for Hire is our first project, and we're building a cinematic universe together. So if you're watching this on YouTube, etc., and you have not joined our community, you are absolutely welcome. Anybody can join as a hero, client, or villain. I'm also a character by the name of Jan too. So we have a bunch of our other everyone here is a cast member too. Like Guru Merkaba, we have AK Wonder, we have Andro, we have EQ, we have Mouse, and and I'm sure more heroes will flood in. But this whole meetup today is about us actually talking about the series and planning and producing. We're going to be forming our JFH Content Team now. We've already have a app test team because the app is live. We are consistently working on new elements to deploy in the app because it's actually very robust, and we've been one step at a time bringing stuff out to the community. So. But now it's getting time for us to talk about the actual first season of Justice for Hire, our fourth episode of what we call our starter pack. And the starter pack is really just setting up some of the general rules of the universe. That fourth episode will be out in the coming weeks, and we've been saying that for a while, but now it's actually finishing completion. There's a bunch of stuff that needed to get done on the post-production side for this one. But what's coming next is the actual like foundational, we would call it the trunk of the series, the story of the app getting built and all the heroes coming together. And in this narrative, which essentially starts with essentially an entrepreneur figuring out, hey, there's a need for a new type of justice in the world because we have issues. Police may not respond as quickly, which is a very real issue. Respond as quickly to calls, and what happens when the only people around are citizens, and how do we centralize this hero inside of us via an app and bring us all together to actually help each other. So at the end of this season, this is the spoiler. I was saying that on social we're have some spoilers here, and the spoiler really is that at the end of season 1 there is going to be a significant amount of ninjas. And so Justice for Hire, we're very focused, and as you can see on our first mission, Justice for Hire is very, very focused on taking real world action through our content. And what that means is that we want to be able to make stories about stuff that actually is actually real, rather than stuff that we're simply making up, that has not necessarily like a value to our community or our global community, so that we can think about change. Like Justice for Hire is actually what we would call near future sci-fi. Hey, AAO1. Still trying to figure out Zoom. We see you. We're here for you. But essentially the concept is like, how do we plan for a future that's a few days away? And the only way we can really do that is by like pre-visualizing it. So to a certain extent, that is a very lofty goal for Justice for Hire, hence us starting with Wash the Hate, our first nationwide mission, and the whole concept of stopping all that negativity, hate, etc., against the Asian community. But Justice for Hire is also a show, and it's also fiction, and we're not actually a vigilante app. So with that in mind, there's the fictional element of our characters and how those characters affect a fictional world that just happens to look like our real world. So with that said, there's always going to be a balance of real world themes and fictional, like heroic superhero kind of stuff going on in our cinematic universe. So, but of course, being very grounded for now, with essentially not many superpowers. There are really no one's blasting lasers out of their hands or anything. It's all grounded, reality-based action, drama, etc., comedy, whatever genre you want to bring into it. It's really up to you. But at the end of this season, there's a bunch of ninjas. And the ninjas we finished this season not knowing what the true motivation of the ninjas are. They could be anti-heroes. They're popping up nationwide. And speaking out of character as a producer, one of the concepts that we're really seeking here is to achieve is with the equivalent of a sky beam. So a sky beam in superhero movies or Independence Day or any of these films, you see a beam in the sky and everyone's like, uh-oh, there's a worldwide event happening. What are we going to do? So how do we create a worldwide event for us, our community, for all of the heroes to be able to take on together? It's called a systemic problem or a collective journey storytelling. How do we handle an issue together that's leading towards something big? So this is really the conversation that I wanted to have with everyone today, because what we're doing with season 1, that's going to start after episode 4, technically, is that the content, what we would like content from the entire community so that we can cut together, bring this into the main app narrative, this main tree trunk that all of our characters are essentially connected to. So, with that said, I wanted to open it up to the community and talk about how we can do this. What types of questions we can ask ourselves to help ideate, to help formulate awesome content from this story. So I'm going to mute myself.
I kind of like to think about it as kind of an event that's kind of bringing heroes together. But I think the amazing part of what Justice for Hire is doing is that they're like, we don't like all the heroes don't have to be like fighting the same like ninja storyline. Like if you have in your town, ninjas are doing one thing, and in someone else's town, ninjas are doing another thing. All of that is canonical. So it doesn't have to be like all the ninjas are like necessarily like fighting the same fight. There can be like different factions that are, in someone's city and they're working on something else, and someone else is working on something entirely different that's still ninja related in their city.
Oh, we got AA01. Hold on. AA01, what was that? Oh, I'm going to make you full screen so I can see this. Hold on. Hey, Jan, Smoke. Smoke, yes. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. So happy to have you. Yeah, so essentially, like, and Smoke, you were asking about this. You were one of our like very early on heroes. And a great example, and many heroes have done this, several of them, who've essentially changed their hero persona, their name, over time. So I'm super interested in us workshopping ideas that are executable for each one of you guys, essentially on your phone, because like I'll shoot stuff all day on my phone for my character, and of course what we're building toward here, so that everyone we can all look at the same goal next year. Reality willing, next year we plan on going on tour. And so going on tour, that means we are flying to you guys into your particular areas, because our cast is technically worldwide right now, after we went viral on TikTok. So now we have folks in other countries too, but we're very focused on the US and being making sure that the foundational heroes here, well, we're going to be traveling to where you guys are and producing episodes like, more like traditional production style episodes. And yeah, this is how we're going to know where to go. It's like, okay, who's producing content, where in the country, what is their story? I know Mouse is working on a very particular story of his own. I think EQ is involved in that as well. So you guys have your own narrative, which exists, which obviously exists within the larger universe. And there are moments where it ties in to the main narrative. And this ninja epidemic, essentially the ninjas are spreading across the nation, and like, what are they doing in your town? And I think the first thing to really ask yourself is, how do you want people to feel when you're making a piece of content? Like how do you when they're watching it, how do you want them to feel? Do you want them to laugh? Do you want them to feel do you want them to love you? Do you want them to hate you? And how do you want to and then next, how do you want to feel? So those are two questions, and I'd love for anybody to give some feedback on that. EQ.
Hello. Am I live? Can you hear me? Okay. I don't have a long time. Just before I start, is this recorded anywhere that I can watch later? Because after I stop, I'm gonna have to get off. Okay, cool. Ninja? Like, okay, so just because my thing was glitchy a little bit, Jan, you're saying that this ninja thing will happen across the country all at once, and the viewer's not going to really understand their motives. The heroes won't understand their motives. It's just going to be like for want of a better phrase, a climactic finale for everybody's seasons.
Exactly. So essentially, the ninjas start causing issues in different parts of the country, and essentially a bunch of people running around looking like ninjas. And that is essentially the only pattern. We as a community are trying to figure out what's going on here, because and I'll even another spoiler, like the ninjas are starting to target JFH heroes in particular.
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's really what's going to the culmination is, hey, they're actually coming after us. So we've already established ourselves in the series at this point as a group of people uniting nationwide, worldwide, that are standing up for essentially a hero's culture. We're shifting the narrative, worldwide narrative, from a victim culture, and when I say victim culture, meaning that somebody else is responsible for your life, for justice in your life, for quality of life, etc. And instead, we are actually responsible, so we're stepping up. And there's the series will showcase that there's a cultural reaction to us, essentially nationwide, that people are starting to notice that, oh wow, there are all these heroes, and any state, any town I go to, there's a JFH hero, and that person will show up for me. And as a matter of fact, if I change the way I look at myself, I'm actually a hero. So that narrative is what these ninjas are essentially now starting to target us because of that narrative.
I love that. That sounds like so much fun. In the sense of like being able to open the toy box and pick anything. Ninjas are always the funnest thing to play with, and that opens up so many possibilities story-wise of fun things to do. I think that's a great idea. Now my gears are turning. Mouse, I hope yours are too. Wow. Well, I'm sorry, I'm too distracted by the ninjas. What else was I supposed to talk about?
So I think the concept here is, and I think the real goal, the end of this meeting, the real goal is for us to have forming our content team. So the content team, to clarify, is going to have essentially access to because we're also building technology, right? Like we have a social, we're like the first social film tech studio. So the whole concept here is we're building technology to help make the filmmaking process and storytelling easier for everybody, so we can just quickly get to telling our stories, rather than figuring out, like, I have to sit like right after this and go into an editing room for hours.
Yeah.
No one should have to do that. like way more automated than having to do that for hours on end. So we're working
that type of price we pay as filmmakers.
So exactly. So essentially, the whole concept here is to build a content team that's going to be testing out not only the technology, but the process that gets turned into technology. So so it's separate than the app test team, and part of us actually getting to this goal is us actually making a story, essentially workshopping your stories that you're going to shoot on your phone that tie your character into this ninja like epidemic, and how you're, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the ninjas have to be evil at all. They don't, and nor do they have to be good at all. It's really about because you're going to find somebody, and it could even be yourself, playing another character. I have this wonderful little ninja mask because we already shot a bunch of ninjas in New York, and
oh hell yeah,
as a ninja because we only had so many casts and it was during the pandemic, when it was at its height. So I got this wonderful ninja mask here, and I'm
so we get to basically play Where's Waldo and try to figure out which ninja is Jan in that scene. That'll be our own little fun Easter egg for us.
It's gonna be fun. Well, I'll spoil this even more. Like Neeks, who's a rapper that you guys have probably seen on our Big Hero Meetup. So he's one of our first. He's our first hero to complete the entire list of journey challenges, which we haven't released yet. But he shot 15 videos that all tie together, and this is some of the stuff that the content team will be playing with. So all these videos all tie together. And as a spoiler for his, I play the ninja it's very personal. His story is very personal. But then when he does a JFH mission, he does a ninja mission, and his mom plays the client. She calls up and says like, ninjas are stealing my packages, and I'm the ninja, and he chases me down a hall and punches me in the face.
Wow. That sounds awesome. Oh wow. Well, can I give I'll give a small little synopsis of what me and Mouse are going to be doing. Because now that I know I can add ninjas, there's so much fun to play with. But Mouse, our story is basically going to be we're currently working on it, writing it right now. But the basic idea for ours is that Mouse is the JFH hero. He is the hacker. Eddie Quinn is not the hero. He basically gets recruited, and this is all spoilers. I'll try to be more vague, but Eddie Quinn's a thief, just a low life. He's a criminal. He's got a checkered past, violent and rude, and he's not a nice person. Very few people like him. Mouse and him aren't even going to like each other very much. But Mouse is to take a page from Marvel, Mouse is my guy in the chair. He's trying to do things from his computer and hack. Is the story we're telling is almost detached from JFH in terms of like the journey challenges and stuff like that. We're telling more of an isolated story that's in the world, but not really part of the overall narrative just yet. We're building to that. As a matter of fact, we're still working on turning Eddie Quinn from just the muscle on the street to trying to figure out how to turn him actually into a hero with a new name and an actual purpose. The arc for this is basically turning Mouse into a vigilante instead of just the hacker, and turning Eddie Quinn from the thief to a hero. And now now I get to play with ninjas, so I appreciate you guys doing that. So it's that to me is the fun part of all this, is getting to try to figure out how to tell this story of turning somebody that I really want him to be unlikable. Like I want Eddie Quinn to be kind of like if anybody's watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I want
John
that
Walker.
difference of yes, I want that shift between when John Walker showed up, everybody was hating on him, and then at the end he's kind of redeemed. He's not exactly a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he's just there. And that's kind of the realm that Eddie Quinn's gonna live in, is that anti-hero, trying to do good, but methods might be a little extreme, and Mouse has to be there to be his Jiminy Cricket of like, hey, you're going too far, this isn't, and it's a fun concept to play with, and I'm really enjoying creating the story, and I can't wait to get it finished and start filming. I'm hoping we can start filming stuff this summer, but by the time we get to our finale, which now will include ninjas, I'm hoping that little that journey we take will, you know, present Eddie Quinn as one of the people that, you know, when that button gets hit, whoever sees it, my character coming is probably going to wish the cops showed up.
Is there? I'm just curious if is there any way like competition with the incoming ninjas could like help turn your character into like the hero, that the transformation that you're kind of hoping to happen?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, right now we're working on a story that involves corruption. It's about we live in a small town, and so I'm basically going to use it as the backdrop and do a story about a crime boss that is basically taking over the whole town. You know, it's either going to be the mayor or the sheriff. I haven't quite figured that detail out yet. I'm still working on all the buttons, but it's going to be, you know, Mouse is basically the guy trying to stop this corruption scam, you know, free his town, and recruits Eddie as his muscle. So we could even have the crime boss hiring ninjas to do, you know, more dirty work. But I mean, I really don't know. I've got to, you know, hit the drawing board on this and see where I can add ninjas in, because my first thought is literally just like an end at the end, maybe them in their bunker, and then ninjas show up, you know, because that's where the JFH signal is coming from. But I don't know. This is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I can't wait to start working on it.
So Q, a few things I want to touch on. Like, first of all, like your story, just to clarify to everybody who's watching this, you're 100% correct that your story should be your story. It should exist in your world. And I'll always keep saying this because it's so uncommon. The whole concept of all of us working together, everyone owns their character. So you can kind of look at it to a certain extent that you're building your own franchise. So
yeah,
and that is a multi-year ideation and execution process. Like you really are planning for the long term when you build your own franchise. So and it just so happens that the fabric of JFH can integrate other people's franchises that you still own, even if it's integrated. The one thing that one thing that we constantly say is that, you know, if you produce content it within the JFH, you know, once you put it into the JFH ecosystem, it's essentially it's essentially a building block or a brick in a bridge. So it's something where we're very much focused on making sure that the community knows that when we're putting stuff in, like, it's not like a social network where you can just delete it, because then if you just delete it, it's gone. You can make it private, but if you're submitting it to like within the ecosystem and it works for an episode, then we contact you and we make sure that, hey, like you guys are getting credited in here. If the episode is profitable, you paid it for that, etc. Yeah. We're really building an ecosystem here to make stuff together. So it should be your story. And the second thing I want to clarify is that the journey challenges that we will put out, we've only put out 3 of them, but we will put out in a more focused way this summer, is these challenges are actually here to help you in this process of telling your story more efficiently, more quickly. So because you can spend a lot of time on script, you can spend a lot of time on you know, the getting everything perfect. And I think that that's super important to spend development time, but then there's the counterbalance of how do I get something out? Period.
Quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, like how do I get it out and then get feedback on it? And so to a certain extent, what we're doing is we're opening up what's in the Hollywood development, in the Hollywood process, the life cycle of film, it's called the development process. So the development process is normally done behind closed doors for a very long time. The stronger projects have more development. The weaker projects normally have less development. But we're opening up development to the world here in this process, because we're essentially saying, well, what are the foundational tenets of your character, your story? How can you shoot a video on that right now? Okay, do you need a friend? Do you need another person for it? Well, how can you do that right now? And then if you ever want to replace that, you probably can. I mean, it's fairly simple for you to reshoot a scene, but now you have the building blocks of your origin story. And that origin story, you can go from there and actually start, you know, while you're doing that, you could be developing your script for a more like dense experience, because the more dense your narrative is, the more planning and the more resources you need to actually pull it off. So we want to make sure that our community is a community of people that are actually, we can actually do something, and we can actually do it fairly quickly, and then keep on building upon it, so that the thing that we have at the end is massively beautiful for each and every one of us. So the journey challenges are there to help you make stuff faster for yourself, not necessarily for JFH. It's actually really about your origin. And that's what the content team is going to be focused on. I would say first is essentially going through these journey challenges and saying, okay, well, what's helpful for my origin, even if it has nothing to do with JFH. Like the matter of fact, the journey challenges, only one challenge mentions JFH. Like all the other challenges are actually about your character doing it, like it's only mentions JFH to connect you to the other hero community. So, so that said, like, we will go through the journey challenges, but when it comes to ninja stuff and what we would need anybody to shoot to make this a nationwide experience is really like, what are 1 to 3 shots that your personal character, like, what is an interaction between you and a ninja that can happen in 1 to 3 shots? It's really as simple as that. After that, it's the questions, because now you're talking about executing these 3 shots, 1 to 3 shots. Like, how do you want people to feel when watching them? And how do you want to feel while being in it? So it's really that.
Well, Eddie's definitely getting his ass kicked by some ninjas. I can tell you that right now. There's something I've been trying to make real important in my script, and I don't know how everybody else is doing their fight scenes and all that. I'm very much wanting, like, I'm not Batman. Eddie Quinn's not Batman. I'm not a expert martial artist. My dude's getting his ass kicked a lot, and now I get to get beat up by ninjas. So I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. So I
Never a bad day when a ninja kicks your ass.
I noticed you mentioned Batman. Now,
Who's
studied a little bit about Batman and all that, and it sounds like kind of way I've been listening throughout all of y'all talking, but yet Batman was never really he studied martial arts, but yet never truly mastered them enough to where, but yet you still have that chance. Like Jan said, to each their own story, but yet has their own different backgrounds.
Well, fellas, I got to head out, but I will be listening in. Y'all have a good day.
All right. We're so happy to see you, EQ. Thanks for joining us. And what's up, Widowster? And Smoke, I think it's really interesting that you said that. I think that's a super interesting point. That is really a topic for even another conversation, because it's such a dense comment you just made, which is Batman never mastered the martial arts. He knows them, but he never mastered. That's actually really, I've never heard anyone say that. And as a martial artist, and that is an amazing statement. And now I have to think deeply on that and come back to it later, because that is a very, very powerful statement. Because I've been thinking a lot about Marvel and DC in the last couple of days, especially between Dark Knights and Death Metal and King of Black. So anyway, that's another thing. Mouse, what's going on?
Well, I just wanted to quickly say something. So I already told you, Jen, told EQ, everybody that I could at least. But I want to try. I might have it in, like, if I have season 1 of my own story when I'm by myself, and then or give me a sec. Okay, so like after the story, me and EQ will have. I want to try and see if I have the mousetrap, which would be my own one, and then in that story, I'll have what I call the rat storyline appear, which you know about, Jan, but yeah, they don't really know about it, but I gotta like polish it until I like once I polish the thing a little bit more, then I can fully just say, hey, this is the
So you're saying that you want your storyline. So you have your own storyline, your own season, and are you talking about integrating the rat storyline into a larger universe or into the ninja narrative?
I want it, yeah, to the ninja part. Like after our season's finished, I want to integrate the ninjas as well, as not as soon as possible, but if we can, just add it whenever the ninjas are like at the end of people's seasons, and then boom, in my first season, my original stuff would be, or me by myself and with other people, it can just be uh like I can have the ninjas make me into rat.
Oh, interesting. So I'll say this, that I mean that's really cool that you would that you would potentially utilize the essentially the event, as AK Wonder put it, the to push your character into the hero world. That's super interesting. Or into a deeper hero persona. I never thought of hadn't thought of that. That's actually really cool. That being said, that again, part of the like this is a general hero meetup, but anybody who wants to join the content team, part of being part of the content team, an aspect of it is us actually making content well before an episode of the series hits the market. So if something's hitting the market in September, our content for it should be produced probably in June. You know, so that we can actually like integrate it properly. So there's going to be a lot of lead time on the JFH content team, and this you know this really spans across anybody and everybody's narrative. I mean, it's the difference between us pulling the community and essentially, let me put it this way: the community itself is going to be responsive to our content on the JFH content team. So we are essentially catalyzing people to create more content by the nature of us doing it early. So that being said, if like I really actually would please message on here on Zoom if you want to join the content team. Just send a little message, like private message or a community message. Just put your name, your hero name, and we'll know to make sure to put you on that list, and we'll create a private chat for that. And you know, of course, we're also have the app live too. So like, there's a lot of stuff we're going to be transitioning to the app over time, but right now we're just very focused on making sure we know who wants in, and then from there, you know, it's essentially going to be a production. It's a production team. You know, it's a story generation team. It's a production team. It's a test team for like storytelling technology and processes. So you'll get a lot of early access to stuff before it's widely announced. But I'm super interested. Please, Maps, please. What were we saying?
Right as I heard ninjas, I was like, wow, I just gotta rewrite my story now.
Yeah, I'm super interested in Guru Merkaba. I see you here, man. So happy to have you. Because you've been talking, you've mentioned little tidbits of your character as well, and that seemed like they had some dense development or thought behind them. So I'm super interested in your perspective of how you might integrate a ninja scene in your town. Again, even 1 to 3 shots of your character interacting with a ninja. What would that be from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, as everyone's been talking, I'm kind of been thinking about that. I'm like, how would my character interact with a ninja? Um, I'm just kind of like going through who Guru Merkaba is. Um, the kind of hero I'm like you mentioned, Jan. Like I had mentioned some dense thought behind him, just to that like I didn't want him to be the kind of hero that that perpetuates that like heroes stereotype of they fly in, they beat up the bad guy, save the day, that's it, nothing really happens. You don't like promote change. You don't see like the next steps that probably should be coming after it, or some things like that. And then you know, like I wanted to be able to, at least with my character, show a bit more, because I like to promote nonviolence. So if I'm going to do something, it's going to be more, I like putting it more Jackie Chan style of, you know, combat. If it's going to be, it's more slapstick of kind of like, you know, you get more redirection rather than, you know, lethal strikes. Um, and whatnot. I thinking about like how a ninja would like how he would interact with a ninja. I mean, I can kind of see like the commotion, the kind of things happening. I actually did have a question before I got there, because I was kind of curious, like, do do you all know what the motivation of the ninjas are, or are we trying to come up with that here? I know that in each hero's story, it's going to be different depending on how, you know, their character interacts, but like overall.
So, first of all, what's up, Tai Chi Wonder? Second of all, creator, I saw your hand, so we'll definitely next up. And Guru Merkaba, to answer your question, yes. Well, to answer your question, yes, we have concepts, but we know where the universe is going, but the details within there are essentially up for us to, as a community, figure out together.
Okay.
So yeah, so essentially, like we know the direction of where the world dealing with essentially a hero's culture. How does the world deal with the movement of a hero's culture that is centralized in JFH, and what happens when people start pressing against it? So we know where that's going, but the deeper details are stuff that we're still figuring out. And I definitely see all of us together on here and with the content team being even more detailed on that.
Absolutely. So then I guess more than to answer your question directly, I mean, I can kind of see the ninjas running amok within the town, like within like my area, because I'm in the Bay Area, and so I figure my character will be throughout the Bay Area. He's kind of like a nomadic individual. From 13 to about 32, he spent time like traveling and searching, kind of going through like this deep change within himself, because there was a lot of you know, inner turmoil, a lot of, you know, troubles at home, a lot of things that like just trauma, abuse, etc., things like that, like that happened, that he felt like needed there to be a change, so that it wasn't something that gets perpetuated in the future. And along this journey, you know, reaches this point of, you know, internal enlightenment of like, I understand, you know, what is important right now. And right now it's a bit more compassion and redirection. And so kind of him going out into the world, you know, like I my first episode that I have filmed so far is the Wash the Hate one, which I'm almost done editing. And so I was gonna put that out, but I was trying to think about, like, you know, what would have brought him back to this area, back, you know, back close to home, from where he's originally from. And, you know, death of a family member, you know, kind of like putting to test all the things that, you know, he's kind of gone through, and like in finding himself, centering himself, you know, going through the world, you know, interacting with not trying to give spoilers away for the episode, but you know, the interaction with you know, this incident, I'll say, you know, like this interaction with this incident, you know, and like how he is like, okay, there needs to be more of a presence, there needs to be more of this like engagement with people. So I feel like as the character starts, like, you know, like wandering, you know, there are a lot more sightings and poppings up of these ninjas, causing a bit of mayhem or mishaps, depending on, you know, the level. I feel like there wouldn't be just this finite style of interaction, at least with my character. You know, it could be something a bit more comedic depending on the situation. It could be something a bit more serious, a bit more dark, you know, just depends, you know. But yeah.
No, that's a great question, and creator, I want to get to you. I want to finish addressing what something that Guru Merkaba said. So this is really wonderful I think it's really important for just for us to consistently say that when we're building a cinematic universe together, and there are a lot of action themes in it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the action has to be violence, you know, and you know, and a lot of times I think that I think Jackie Chan is a great example of a hero who, like you said, lots of redirection. He's never the instigator of the fight. You know, he's normally defending himself and trying to help somebody else. And in that process, a lot of fun stuff happens. And I think the greatest testament to that is to how much love there is around the world for Jackie Chan. Like, just the amount of love for him is pretty spectacular. Very few human beings like achieve that level of like absolute, like, oh my God, it's Jackie. You know, so it's a great role model. But yeah, that's great, man. And then, like, super interested in your Watch the Hate content, and and the fact that you're in editing, still in editing on that. Again, I want to highlight that for the JFH Content Team, that's awesome if you are a professional and or prosumer, or, you know, like power user, kind of like, hey, I'm going to make something, I'm going to write it out, I'm going to shoot it, I'm going to plan it, I'm going to edit it. That's awesome, but that's not what's necessary for the JFH Content Team. The content team is a phone. And it's a phone where it's like, hey, I made one shot. I made maybe 3 shots, and these 1 to 3 shots have told that story. And that's something that we need to perfect that for us, for a lot of stuff that we're working on internally for the studio, so that we can help other people tell their stories. So you know, if you guys anyone who comes onto the content team, and Andra, I believe, just posted, shared in the, or she will share in the in this chat, a form that you can just sign up and say, hey, I'm on the content team, and that way we know, and then great. And then we'll set up separate. We'll set up a separate, likely weekly meetup. Same way we have a weekly meetup just for the app test team, but it'll be just for the content test team, and it'll be simple stuff, because this is all about being simple, but simple and creative. Like, how do I shoot one shot? Like I said, I have my little, you know, $4 ninja mask next to me, but how do I do something that is canonically connected? Meaning canon, meaning part of the story of the larger universe, or my universe. Let's say your universe first, and how that ties into the larger story. How do I shoot something that ties into other stuff with every shoot I make? Every time I press record on my camera, I'm actually building a foundation and putting bricks in for my own story. And that's the way you build the ladder, so that we are, you know, we can all see each other from the mountaintop. So that being said, Guru Merkaba, I love everything you said, and thank you for being a part of this community. When people bring that type of energy, everybody on here, like, it's just such good energy. So thank you. Creator?
Good afternoon, good morning. 2 things. One, where did the ninjas come from?
So that's a good one. They essentially just started appearing nationwide, but essentially nationwide, but in waves. So
Okay.
essentially, like, it's not like, hey, this one thing happened here. It's actually a clear pattern that you can see nationwide. If there's a movement, it's very similar to like flash mobs. It's like
Okay. So like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they had all the people with the apps and the little red signal, they're like a mob, just like in certain areas. Like, this is Ninja Section 1, Ninja Section 2, but they're like one big
Yes.
ninja group.
Yeah, it's similar, but not the same. I think they were called the Flag Smashers, and yes.
Yeah.
I
And then number 2, so I designed a whole suit for this, and I'm listening, because I'm trying to keep it as realistic as possible. So since I'm shooting from my phone, I don't have to like have like special, like, my character is more of a nerd turned superhero. Like, I designed a suit, and it's like, I have like not gadgets, but like basic, like kick-ass, you know, but it's just like cheap down, watered down, like no high-tech armor, you know. So I might have a nightstick, I might have like a homemade shield and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, can I keep it on that aspect? Like, no, there's nothing crazy, like no Batman or Iron Man gadgets, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I think a huge testament to that lifestyle. We have Widowster on here right now. He's a real life superhero, and his gear is some of the dopest gear you're going to see from a real life. So I've known real life superheroes for a very long time. And what, like, I'm super impressed by Widowster's gear. His gear is serious. So he's on here right now. So, but yeah, man. I mean, I think that's totally in alignment with the narrative. I mean, that's absolutely the way you want to go. That's great.
Okay, so I don't need to, like, no flying, no like teleporting and jumping through like portals and stuff. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, I just wanted none of that, right?
No. So yeah, again, like the powers that we are recognizing in the universe currently are really more so of like the esoteric proven powers that science is really starting to reference more of now. And, you know, those are intuitive powers. Those are the ability to direct your cells, you know, like that, like all that stuff is actually, like, you know, there's many examples and lots of research on that, but that's very,
like, basically,
those are ancient practices. So
I can use my, like, on, like, this, like, I'm like 6'7" almost. So I can run and I can jump. So I can actually incorporate my natural, I'm gonna say, body and use it to my advantage, if that makes sense.
sure, and also like the greater detail within that experience. For example, in the Shaolin monks, they inhale the top of their head when they jump to achieve greater height. Like, that's a very particular breathing pattern that they do. They inhale when they jump up and they exhale into their base. You know, in yoga, we call it your base chakra, but they essentially exhale into their base when they want to come down quickly. So it's, and that's all happening in a fraction of a second. So like that, those types of like internal body mechanics, ancient technologies, that kind of stuff, I think is really interesting to reference if you, but it's not necessarily something that we're, you know, like no one's stopping time with like a touch and then walking around a person and then getting behind them.
Okay, so I got it. So basically, I can use the fact that I'm tall, and then I did track and field in high school, so I can actually run. So like I could have a good chase scene and not be tired out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so that's what I'm just making sure, like, we're on the same page. I'm not doing nothing extra. Like, keep it within the realms of entertainment, but realistic.
Yeah, sure. But there's also another Zeno who might show up a little bit later. Zeno is another character who's got an interesting backstory. I think this is important to reference because his backstory is being from a tribe of like ancients, you know, like, and that's part of his backstory for his character, which is awesome. But that being said, how does that manifest in the JFH world? So like he might have his own stuff that's happening, his own like secret stuff that we don't know about, that maybe later on in the development of our shared cinematic universe, we can start to incorporate. So I'm essentially saying, hey, we might have vampires at some point, but we don't have them today.
Okay.
Because, you know, like, it's essentially we're right now, we're really focused on building the most grounded cinematic universe possible, and then we can build on top of that.
Because my suits, I'm gonna say 90% done. I'm just working out the kinks.
Yeah, I would say this too about the ninja aspect of what we're talking about here today, thematically, is that if you created your own ninja outfit, let's say, to play a ninja character, let's say you were only shooting with yourself for some reason, because we're it's still technically COVID era, you know, like we want everyone to be super cautious and conscious, like when producing this stuff. So it's like, well, if you could only shoot by yourself and I mean, obviously you have the skills to craft any outfit. So like, what if you were a ninja in certain shots and then you're running from yourself, but we don't know that as the audience, we're like paying attention, to your character's experience of this ninja. So there's ways for you to just shoot a shot of yourself, shoot a shot of the counter shot of the ninja.
And then splice it together.
Yeah, and essentially like whatever, there's stuff that you might make on your side, but then there's stuff that you could just send us as what we're doing. Is like, when I say send us, I mean like put it into the, put it on the app. Like we'll essentially be able to pull and help craft the end of the season finale, because the vision for that season finale is to be able to cut to all of these heroes, like over the course in a rhythmic way in a montage, to cut to heroes dealing with ninjas nationwide. So when you really think about what that ask is in terms of a shot, it's really like I said, 1 to 3 shots of you dealing with a ninja.
Quick question. Does it matter how the ninjas look?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So I have a ninja. I have an idea. All right. I got it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know we got Carrots Bound here and Rez, who I think is new. And so and Widowstar, hoping that I saw the post about the shoes. So I hope you're taking the time off that you need. It's good to have you back. Does anyone else have any thoughts or ideas?
Yeah, everything's been good.
Everything's been good, man.
Yeah, it happened on a Thursday, and I probably wasn't paying attention, and it probably just happened. So but yeah, now I'm probably gonna repair them soon. Probably go to Michael's and probably gonna go ahead and head out soon. But dang, it's getting hot in here though. Shoot. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I gotta fix on that too. But yeah, I got a lot to work on that. So yeah, I'm just trying to get the postings. Just a new account and everything. So 91 followers, not too bad, but it'll get back up there soon. I'm not really in a rush, really public following. Not that I really did it in the first place. So I'm just starting again, so people can get in tracking up everything. And since I got new stuff that's in the works and new ideas, I could just go from there. And then if anybody like watches, they get inspired by that or motivated, that's free will for them to do so. So that's the purpose of it. That's the purpose of when we put ourselves out there and invest ourselves, that's the point of it all. It's that purpose. So, what you're driving your influence or attraction into. So that's just about that. So I'm probably gonna go ahead, head out and get some stuff done. I gotta get some fabric for the insoles since they're beyond repair for me to like keep constantly sewing. So yeah.
Well, it's awesome that you make your own gear, man, and that's real fun that they have that billboard of you in your. Yeah. That's real fun.
It's pretty old, but I say it just suffices. I just have a bunch of photos that I never really like posted or just keep, and it's just like, all right, I could just post them from time to time, and then also post the stuff that's really new.
Nigga.
Okay. Hey, oh, sorry. What's? Sorry, we have
I thought I was on the Instagram live at first. I was like, whoa, what? Lil Perk, is that you?
Okay, so and Coward's Bet. We see you here. But what's your hero name? Because I know we've seen you before. I don't want to mess it up because I think I remember, but I don't want to mess it up. So if you're here, say hi.
Hello there.
What's going on?
Hi, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude.
Not at all.
For lack of a better reference, I have 12% of a plan.
Okay.
But I've been working on my hero, but I don't have like the material to make my costume or the equipment because all I have really is like my phone and about $50.
Well, so Coward's Bet, are you do you have a hero name yet?
I don't think so. There is some issue for me, so I'm still trying to get my stuff sorted out.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say this, that for EQ, for example, like if you look at his screen, like that's his character. He's got it's really him in a jacket. Like for me, I put on a t-shirt. I don't have a mask. I don't have a hero gear outfit. It does creator Guru Merkaba, even Widowstar, who's a real life superhero, they all have their own outfits, but you don't necessarily need to have gear to be a hero. As a matter of fact, the whole.
Hey guys, my name's Candace.
Hey, what's going on, Candace? Welcome.
How you doing?
Welcome. But essentially, like it shouldn't matter about if you have your phone. That's all you need. You don't need an outfit. You don't need to spend money on pretty much anything. I don't think there's one thing that we would ask you to do that you would actually need to spend cash on. Like the whole point of the community is you being able to tell your story, and storytelling is one of the oldest things that that humans do. So you should be able to.
There's dick being in your mouth.
Cool. then I guess my ability to storytell is I have then a lot more of an idea of what I was going to do, because I'm pretty sure the last time I was here, I was trying to say something about my character struggling between his like morality and trying to decide for himself to be a good guy or a villain, because I didn't elaborate on that, and I'm not sure if is it all right if I elaborate a little bit?
Sure.
I heard what you guys were saying about the powers, so I had to like knock a little few things off here and there. So I was like, okay, I can work with this. So I was thinking like, and because you guys have this like ninja thing going on, I was thinking, hey, maybe I can meet one of these ninjas and you know, ask them to train me a little bit, because my power I don't really have a considerable power besides like buffing my defenses. And like my offense is pretty poor, so that's why I need to like, you know, work on my physical prowess.
I mean, that's an awesome idea. I love the idea of you asking a ninja to train you. I mean, in general, we very much view we very much view the JFH experience as partially being mentorship. You know, like you being able to find other.
I want to go over there and then turn on the camera.
So essentially like heroes being able to find other heroes to partner up with, to learn from, to essentially grow as a hero, to ask questions to like of each other, and to for essentially each one teach one. That's like an old saying, you know. That's really cool. And Mouse, I saw your hand up too, so we'll definitely you're up next. But yeah, I mean, that's Coward's Bet. That's just a great idea. And like I said, it's really just think about 1 to 3 shots that you can get.
What's up?
Hey, Alan, what's up?
How's your day?
We're doing good. Hey, just so you know, like you have to be 13 enough to join JFH. So if you're under 13, you have to be joining with a parent or guardian.
Sorry.
It's all good. We're live on like TikTok for the first time today, just so everyone knows. So like I put the meeting ID there. We have like 75,000 followers there that we don't know, unlike Instagram and you know, where we actually like personally met each and every one of you guys somehow, some way through our, you know, just the way that it's easier to interact there. So a bunch of people have been popping on today and when we love the TikTokers, love you guys. We're just figuring this all out, so it's gonna be great. Mouse, I'm sorry, Coward's Bet, just to finish up what you were saying, that's an awesome idea. But again, if you want to shoot something, if you really take the pressure off yourself, like just do your best to take the pressure off yourself by like the first thing that we ask for anybody in the community is a hero video or a profile video. So that's either if you're a hero, if you're a client, if you're a villain, and the villains will eventually reveal themselves in the coming season. But whatever role you choose, you should absolutely ask yourself, absolutely do that assignment. Just say, hey, this is my name and this is why I'm the hero if you choose hero. So that in and of itself, and you can keep that video private, but you just being able to get in front of the camera and say that is going to change how you view yourself as a character. So I highly recommend doing that. You can go to justiceforhire.app right now. It's like the whole, you know, you create your own profile and that's the first thing that you're asked for. So I highly recommend doing that because it's just going to help you with your own storytelling ability that much more. And let us know if you have any questions on that. And like I said, we're always here. You can always reach out to us either on Instagram or on TikTok or you can email. I'm at Jan at Justice for Hire. But we're super accessible. So feel free to always ask questions, and we're all here to help as a community.
Thank you very much. I have a ton of ideas for everything I'm working on, but thank you for like the inspiration and just like encouraging me to actually go for it, because I've never done this type of thing before.
Hey man, this has never been done before. So welcome. We're all here together. No one's the cinematic universe like with the community before. So like, we're all pioneering together, and that's why everybody's voice is actually so massively important. It's like super important. Like, we got to figure this out, and like we're all, I think, really grateful. Like I'm personally really grateful that everybody's here. So like this is awesome. And so, like I said, please keep asking questions, and anything you need. I'm sure that if we can't, if someone on here can't help, there's somebody else in our community that can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Mouse, what's going on?
Yeah, welcome home.
Okay. One, just to tell Coward something. Well, I don't know if I should call her Coward or not, but I don't know. Okay. So I'm broke and using a phone and like a free cheap editing system, and I'm still gonna be able to do it good. But I'm just telling you, even if you don't have money, you can still do it. This was from a Halloween thing. This was just a random shirt I had, and then just a random long sleeve shirt I had, and it made this. Made the costume I'm gonna use. I like to call this the armored stuff. But and then two, what if there was somewhere in the series, what if there was a, like, how Walking Dead had the whispers and all that? What if there was a what's it called? Like a faction of, and I don't want to create it, but if somebody else wanted to, a faction of ninjas, just like the guys that impersonate the ninjas, and is just there and is the quote unquote good for the ninjas, but like I said, they're like impersonating them.
So that's super interesting. You're saying like, and I love your little disclaimer of, and I don't want to do this. Somebody else can do this.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that and then be like, oh yeah, I'm not, but somebody else, if you want to, you can.
That's awesome. So you're saying like, what if there was a group of ninjas that were essentially their own, that they're emulating those other the larger ninja community, except they're actually good guys and they're fighting for, kind of like the Mandalorian. There's the faction of the Mandalorians that have that are fighting for something that's very different than the principles that Mando, the main character himself, is fighting for. If you guys watch that, so I think those are all super interesting concepts, and I think that I mean, now it's like, what are your thoughts on how that might tie into your maybe either your story or even the larger JFH story?
I don't know, like, really how it would go to my story. I might like use it somehow, like be in touch with them and hack with it. I don't know, but like what I think it would do, like affecting the whole series, would be like the final battle between us and the ninjas, and then finally the impersonator. Like we could have like just like brief scenes. I don't even, this could be just not canonical at all. Just me imagining.
What you just said,
we could have on one side,
that was a big deal. What you just said.
like the camera pans over a ton of these ninjas, and then a lot of JFH members are there just ready to fight them. And then before the fight starts, before the whatever happens, when somebody throws punches or starts shooting or fighting, you just see the impersonators walk out and join the JFH people. like just walk out of the crowd of the ninjas, and I would love like I said, I randomly am just geeking out about this because all of everybody's stories are awesome. But uh like I said, if that happened, I would love to be in that scene or any part of it. Cause man, I would I would love to see that happen. And like I said, I don't want to be the one person to do it, but if somebody wanted to do it, they can. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Creator, I see you. So you're up next. I just want to respond to this real quick because Mouse, what you just said is actually very much foundational to the reason we're doing any of this. So like the whole concept of all of us being able to come together in one scene in person for an event is actually like what we're building toward, and to be able to do that, essentially like to be able to do that regularly, bless you, to be able to do that in terms I mean, it's just a big deal. It's a huge deal. And so absolutely, like that's so when I was saying that Guru Merkaba asked this question, he was like, do you guys have this figured out? And my response was, well, we kind of figured this out with you guys. So Mouse, you just help figure out where all of our tour is going to lead to. So that makes total sense. If we're going around nationwide to different towns, we're shooting with you guys with your local story, your foundational characters narrative, and then connecting that to all the other characters nationwide, then there should be the culmination of the tour should be all of us in one. We'll figure this out and how to accomplish this, so that we have essentially a final standoff with the entity that's essentially pushing against our community. So that is a huge deal. That is absolutely something that has been pondered and dreamt about for a very long time. In fact, that you just connected that was not at all what we were thinking.
Hey guys, I'm about to go ahead and head out. You guys take care.
I was just in my head.
All right, Winchester. Thanks for joining.
All right.
Keep up all the great work, man. Thank you.
No problem. Wait, I forgot the leave button. There it is.
But yeah, Mouse, that's awesome, and 100%. That I really think that makes a lot of sense for that's where our tour should go. We should be touring around, dealing with the ninja epidemic with you guys, finding out how your character deals with it, and then essentially getting information. Because now we're talking about real story, like multi-year. We're talking about planning here. We're talking about like, hey, like there's a main space where we all need to be gathered against a crowd, like a coliseum of ninjas, and we have to have our core heroes there so that we essentially can handle handle with the challenges. And I don't think it's going to be, just from this, I mean, it could be anything, but to me, it's very different than like Avengers. Let's just go and just fight. I don't think it's as simple as that, because I think the world needs something more dynamic. And so I think that we'll figure out what that is in time. But thank you so much for saying that, because that is, and we're going to mark this one, because this is our first real like content meeting, hero meetup. So the fact that you said that on this meeting is a big deal. So that's awesome. Thank you.
I wanted just one last thing, just a quick question. Do you like the outfit?
Dude, that is super dope.
What I did was I had like I said, I had this like me and EQ, we lived together, so we were talking to each other, and he told me that, like, I told him that this by itself and then this by itself was Mouse's outfits, like the sleeves and all that. But then he told me, no, this is the jacket is the main piece of the outfit always. Like in both outfits, it's only this. So what I'm wanting to do is, while he's like hacking and stuff, he could be in the long sleeve, but we can say he's quote unquote armored whenever like this. You can't really see it, but like there's a second shirt, which is a short sleeve, or a cutoff shirt. And yeah, I feel like that's it would work with Mouse because I told him that, uh, but I wanted to have Mouse be at first he's a weakling and just I'm not gonna spoil the end of what EQ wants to happen, but I want to have like the end of mine and his thing have something where he's training me so to go alone without him. So if I'm actually having to fight, I will.
Dude, that's amazing. I love the outfit. I love that you actually clarified to Carrot's bet, like what, like you're like, hey man, like I made this because I creatively thought about it. You know, like it's not necessarily about like, I think that's one of the biggest things that's the difference between the independent film world and Hollywood. It's really saying, hey, like what can I do with the resources around me, which is the independent filmmaker thinking. And
Yeah, use whatever you have.
yeah, you literally use whatever you have versus saying, hey, I need a studio set. I need XYZ. I need this visual effects company. I need this special effects company to blow up that building so that I can stand in slow motion in front of it. Like that's totally unnecessary. Like the whole point and the value here is actually your personal story being able to make that awesome. And because it is awesome, it's just a bit about the way you think about it. So yeah, thank you for sharing all that. And creator, I know that you had something you want to say, and Andra, you had something you want to say. So creator, what you go for it?
You already answered my question before, like at the ending scene, because I was going to mention like the Avengers Endgame portal scene, if that made sense. But I understand where you're going with it.
One of the greatest moments in cinema history. Of course, it makes sense.
That's really it. Sorry, I'm listening, but I'm just building right now. But I'm listening.
Nice.
But that was really it.
Okay, cool. Andra, you.
So what I wanted to say was just that what I noticed in this community is that our natural abilities and human values that we portray are our superpowers. Kindness, being able to work like what Mouse did with his outfit. Those are the first and foremost. Creator with his whole outfit is just bringing something that is inside innate in each and every one of you and putting it into what we're doing together with Justice for Hire.
Well, that's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's inspired by you guys. Natural abilities and human values that we portray, those are superpowers. Forget about visual effects and all that. Don't forget about them. They are cool, but before you get to that phase, think about what you have inside. And Mouse, what you did, and creator, and what I see in each and every one of you during the test sessions, during this Hero Meetups, it's just mind-blowing. So don't think forget what you lack and remember what you have. That would be just my 2 cents on this. And then in regards to the ninjas, I kept on thinking ever since this meetup started, what if you take off the mask, one of the ninja takes off the mask, and actually it's the JFH heroes that's behind that ninja. So that would be also because we have the ninjas spreading, going to each and every town, so they can be one of the problems, and the JFH heroes see and they create missions and they report what the ninjas are doing. Or you take off the mask and you are the ninja. It can be, this is what I've been thinking of and hearing you. So it's just throwing it out there.
Can I quickly just say something? If now I don't want to say if he wants to have it in his series, whatever. Like in somebody's series, if you watch, what if there was just somewhere or someone was secretly they were working they were quote unquote working with the Whisper-esque ninjas, the ones that are good, but their image, all that was no, I hate them, all that, but they actually work with the good ones, but they said they hated the ninjas, but they only hate the bad ones. If that makes sense.
Oh, I just realized I'm muted. So are you're essentially talking about a traitor in the midst?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, that is absolutely part of the plan as well. I mean, we shot a hero last year as a ninja, and she was in our very first hero meetup in 2018. So, and like it's fully shot, so we can reference back that like, hey, this person who's got the ninja, that's in the ninja outfit was actually like, has at least come across our community, and the story hasn't been fully fleshed out with her yet, whether or not she's positioned as a hero, but definitely somebody who's come across our community, because for them to even target us, they would need some understanding of how we operate and what we're about from a principle standpoint. So I'm sure that we'll have, because the hero meetups, while this is an out of character hero meetup, there are in character hero meetups too. And I appreciate Guru Merkaba saying, should I come in character? Costume. It's my general Batman voice for anything I do in character.
I did.
Should I wear the costume? So
Do you want me to bring it?
It's a beautiful day outside.
Martha.
So yeah, man. I mean, like that's a great idea, and I think that in general, great ideas are things that they exist before anyone touches them, and so the fact that you're saying stuff, and I think many people in here have said aspects of what we're already doing, or we're already leading toward, or clarified like aspects of the dream and making it real by the words that you're saying. Like all of that is just us being aligned with I think like a force that's an invisible force that's pulling us toward a very grand goal. So, Guru Marco, is that a hand up?
Actually, I was just thinking of something as we were talking. What if? I'm just spitballing at the moment. So, like, what if the ninjas were this like force that was trying to get the heroes to kind of like step up and kind of come together, so people are more like, it's kind of like you were saying, you're like, what is that thing that is going to get us to go? But like, what if their whole intention, like all, like we kind of like maybe another hero captures a ninja and kind of is able to interrogate them and kind of figure out a bit more information, or by the time we get to that end result, there's this big the end encounter, there's this big reveal, like that some of them were heroes within JFH, and maybe the whole plan was to kind of like force us into this alliance.
Heroes gone bad.
Yeah, like but that necessary evil, if you know what I mean, like that necessary evil that kind of
I'm totally with you right now. This is really dope.
Yeah. So you have that necessary evil that's driving us forward in order to be like, this is the next step. This is where we need to go as a society. This is where we need to go as a community. But we need you heroes to step up and be more. We need you guys to be able to understand what is that? Not just communication, but collaboration. Learn better collaboration. Learn how to lean on each other when necessary. Like actually leveraging each other. That was the other one. Leverage. Learning how to leverage each other's strengths to be able to help in certain situations, so that you're not just relying on yourself. Because a lot of things that also heroes face is that, like, I'm a loner. I don't want Batman. I don't want to deal with anybody, like, or just whomever, just decides like they just want to be by themselves. But like a lot of times when you're confronting whatever level of problem, whether it's something involving action, something involving emotion, something involving, communication, sometimes it takes that extra perspective or that extra leverage that somebody else might have of being like, hey, lean on me. It's okay. Like, talk with me, bring me through it. Maybe that's how, their powers are strengthened. Maybe that's, like being able to feel revitalized and re-energized and let go of some of those like negative things that you're holding on to or whatever. Once you let go of it, you feel lighter, you feel powerful, stronger, and being able to give that boost or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, back to the thing. It's like it pushes them forward to that end goal.
I have so much to say to that. AK Wonder's I'll respond after AK Wonder jumps in.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea, I think, especially, in conjunction with like the premise of JFH, which is like hire a hero or get paid. And I think when you factor in get paid, the intentions of the hero might not be as pure as what we kind of think of a hero, of kind of doing things out of the grace of like their heart and wanting to have a better world. So I think that storyline that you just proposed, I think, pushes the narrative of JFH to be from a place that's maybe more than just, okay, these are a bunch of heroes working on their own to get paid. They're actually working in conjunction and collaborating to like make a better world. That could be the kind of next step of Justice for Hire's kind of evolution as an entity.
100%.
So I want to build on that because I think that's really interesting, and we actually talk about this in episode 4 briefly. We touch on it. The concept that the hero's justice for hire doesn't necessarily mean that you're like, you can also do stuff in pro bono, because the whole concept of being heroes, that you're a hero first, and then if you can, just like any job, if you can do it full time and just be a hero, you want to be able to support yourself, and you should be able to get paid from that. So that's like a general concept that also can sow, if viewed improperly, which it will be, can sow the seeds of greed and envy and all these things that essentially tear humanity apart. And so I think the value in us being able to showcase, because what you just said connects to Mouse's idea, the culmination. So you have this culmination, and then the big reveal of the culmination is, and I love this, is that the ninjas were actually doing what was necessary to bring us together and bring us out, to help us step up our game, and to even criticize aspects of our community that, as AK Wonder was saying, criticize aspects of our community that may lead to the cultivation of these essentially toxic ideas and emotions that can be very very base level human. So I think that it's a really interesting, because I think a lot of this is soul searching. And when I say that a lot of this is soul searching, I mean like very much at the core what Justice for Hire is, and even my personal experience as a like filmmaker, as a Hollywood professional, etc., working through this project. It's been interesting watching how people can perceive the concept of a hero and the concept of getting paid to be a hero. And so that's not to be avoided, that's actually to be addressed. And for us to address that in such a climactic way completely differentiates us from the crowd or from the marketplace of other properties, and say, hey, you know what, we are questioning ourselves more than anyone else, and therefore questioning our own motives. And it's that ability to question our own motives that can actually help us to rise. And so I think that's really, really interesting that you bring that up, and that it puts us in a position where the final battle can still happen. There can still be a big, awesome action scene, because I love action. I want to see action, but the action scene can have a different motivation, which isn't, hey, we're fighting for the fate of the world, or we're fighting to beat these people. It is that now it is a battle of for ourselves too. That's beautifully put. It is a battle for us to recognize something higher within ourselves and higher ideals, almost as if we're being tested by the ninjas to make sure that our hearts are as resonant and as strong as they are supposed to be, because the next stage after where we achieve as a business, because Justice for Hire is a business for each hero that is on the app, and is a business for the company, the the in character, the Justice for Hire company that's actually building this Uber for Hero style app. So if we're going to become a multi-billion-dollar company, which in a world, in a world of capitalism in which the greed, etc., can permeate our entire organization and then taint all of the heroes, that our hearts actually need to be at a higher resonant level than the money that is coming to us, than the success that is coming to us. So like for a group to recognize that we are making that movement, that if we're not properly calibrated, that the world can actually turn to darkness to a certain extent if we're not properly aligned, and then through their actions get us aligned. That to me is freaking awesome. So thank you for saying that. That's a huge deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also, just a quick little thought of just like, as things are happening too, because the thought comes with, if, we're getting overrun with ninjas in waves, as you said, there's going to be more things that need to get solved than the people that are out there requesting for a hero to come help. Because like, what are you going to do if something is happening and you're standing right there? Like, I'm gonna wait till somebody pings me. Like, no, you would just suit up and get the heck out there and get on it, and like try to help out, try to do something, try to make a difference, or at least maybe that's what you're confronted with, depending on if you're, you find yourself becoming a hero or anti-hero or a villain. But yeah.
So that's interesting what you said too. So are you saying that the concept? So you're saying that by nature of the ninjas being in the world coming in waves, those waves of ninjas would essentially cause more activity aside from the general activity of, hey, get a cat out of my tree, or somebody stole my purse, or somebody did this or did that.
Yes.
And just to AK Wonders next up. But you're saying that would cause a larger wave, and that within that wave, it sounds to me that you're identifying the opportunity of various characters across the universe to respond differently, because some of them will respond out of, hey, there's something bad happening, I'm a hero, it doesn't matter if I'm getting paid or not, I'm going to go help. And versus, oh, I'm a hero, well, I'm not going to do anything until I get pinged on this phone, because otherwise I'm not getting paid. So you know what? Sorry. Versus somebody else, so like etc. So I think that's really interesting identification. Did I get that right, Gerber? Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. 100%.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So those could be two avenues for certain heroes to go down. Another avenue, I think, is if the ninjas are taking a more anti-hero role and perhaps trying to do good in the community, but in a very violent or wrong way, that's when heroes would be motivated to join the ninja cause, because they are seeking to have more systemic impact than JFH can offer. So that's a third avenue of a choice a hero could potentially make in conjunction with the ninja narrative.
Yeah, so that's really interesting too, because I'll say this, and this is part of what we would, conversations we would have on the content team as well, is that there has to be, and there is, an internal narrative with the concept of building the Justice for Hire company in character in the story. So like, again, it's like you're building, it's very much a startup story, and it's very much like, hey, figuring out like, okay, what choices do we make so that we can perform better? And while also having that internal alignment as a company of wanting to do better for the world, but also sometimes making the choices that would be better financially. And so when you start making those choices, what do you give up? And that question, which has to keep going through the series, because that's part of drama, essentially us being able to set up, maybe they didn't make the right decision, and having other heroes saying, maybe JFH, I'm on JFH, but maybe I should be somewhere else too, or maybe I shouldn't be here at all, because now that I'm a hero, or now that I've honed my hero skills in the JFH ecosystem, I'm actually ready to go off on my own. I don't need JFH anymore. And that to me is super interesting, because it just creates so many opportunities for storytelling, for everybody here on their own, but also two, in like us contemplating that over the course of the series, and as of the seasons of the series, to me is super interesting. And so yeah, I think this is just a great conversation that we're having. So thank you guys. And that being said, we are, like I said, JFH Content Team. If you want in on the content team, please fill out that form. I hope it's not a long form.
It's already filled.
Okay, it's
so
already filled.
I'm gonna reshare.
Okay, so it's she's resharing it right now. But yeah, please jump on there. What's EQ? Ninja Clan. Maybe the Ninja Clan's been around. EQ just says it's been around like a League of Assassins, and they view JFH as in their way or maybe causing more problems depending on the clan's hero/vision allegiances. So yes, that's awesome. More great material to contemplate. But once we find out, like please take your time, think about it, because this is like the commitment of saying, hey, we'll figure out a day during the week when we can come together on Zoom and like really test out like processes. Like I said, it'll likely be 1 to 3 shots that you normally take on your phone. But us figuring out what the stories are that we're essentially going to be preparing for the community, and starting with you guys producing the content for your own story yourself. So every time you make content, you're making it for your story. And then that's how the community is going to see, oh, wow, okay, that's how they're interpreting this mission, this challenge. Awesome. Now I can do my thing because I saw somebody else give me inspiration of how they did their thing. So I would love to have you guys on there. This is an amazing conversation. So thank you guys so much. I like this. I want you to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Is there any last words from anybody before we finish up? Mouse.
Okay. Shoot. What was it? Here. I'm just gonna call you Bet. Bet, not going first.
Oh, Bet. Okay, Bet. So, Cowards, Bet, do you want to go up first? The Mouse wants to take a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask because will there be an option for like a redemption arc? Because looking at your app, I saw that there was like the option to be a hero for hire, be a client, be a villain posing as a hero. But like my spoilers for my character, I'm supposed to be like a really troubled person with probably like 2 sets of personalities, like the really happy Captain America type hero, but struggles with these flashing urges of like chaos. Like imagine like Baron Zemo and Hydra. But like I wanted to like ask if I could like have some sort of redemption arc where I can switch between heroes and villains.
So that's really interesting. I think it's a great question. You're saying a redemption arc, which essentially you would like to tell a story of yourself, of redeeming from a past of is that what you're seeking?
Yes.
Okay. So that's super interesting, and I want to look into our journey challenges. I keep mentioning these things because they're done. You know, we keep on saying we need to launch them all, and like rather than launch one at a time, we'll probably just launch all of them at once. So they'll take some back end polish for us on that side. But that being said, that's a great question for the content team. So I think the short answer is yes. Anything you want to do, of course. When you ask, can I have, that makes me think in terms of what the content team is supposed to be doing. Like our answer to that question should be, hey, why don't we design a process, like a formula for you, Cowards Bet, and anybody else like you that wants to have a redemption storyline. That's on us to develop a formula for you to shoot something very simply that allows you to tell that story. So that's exactly what the content team is about. And that's something where, you know, we have many formulas, you know, that we've written for a while that need to be tested, that I personally tested. They work. but I need to test them with other people. And so, like I'm really, really interested in, and maybe that's one of the first things we do on the official content team is test out a formula for the redemption, like a redemption scene or a redemption story arc. And so I think that's really, really important. And of course, I'm going to take this idea and kind of measure it against our journey challenges, because I think to a certain extent, our journey challenges might actually solve exactly the issue that you're seeking right now. So we may have already done it. And if so, then that'll just, the faster we get it out to you, the better. But of course, like all these conversations, and like I said, this is a public hero meetup. So there's a bunch of stuff that we wouldn't that is best saved for these private JFH content team meetups, because there is like you guys would have an NDA. These are like proprietary like processes that we're building, like patent pending technology around. Like it's really serious stuff. So like I would just love to have you guys on this. And so I think thank you for that great question. That is a major note that I'm right after this I'm going to look into. So thank you, Carrot's Bet. So I want to have an answer for you, and right now it's if you join the content team, you will have an answer sooner rather than later. Mouse, you want to go up next? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a sufficient answer for you? Do you have any other questions?
Oh yes, there's like the thing, that's the base idea, but like I had like a little intricate plan to it. Like first I'm a hero, I get corrupted to become a villain, and then I'm like a mix of both.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So I get what you're saying in terms of it. I think the greatest example of that, not the greatest, but the most recent example of that in popular culture is the Winter Soldier's narrative of attempting to redeem himself from a past of being the Winter Soldier. So is that aligned with what you mean, Carrot's Bet?
Yeah, that's actually where I got the inspiration from.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Look at Disney doing numbers. Everyone on here has seen it. God bless those people. Okay. Awesome. Well, Carrot's Bet. Thank you for those notes. And we hope you join that content team. And I wanted to get to Mouse's question. All right.
Okay. Mine's not really a question. I just wanted to quickly say three things. No, two, because I forgot the third one. But I wanted to say three story things, three story things about my character, just quickly, so people will know. One, unless I've told you, he, Mouse, Mickey Monroe, he was bullied as a kid.
That's a great name.
Yeah. It wasn't me who made it.
That's awesome.
I give that all the EQ.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Mickey Monroe, he was in school for the longest time and got bullied, and like to his breaking point. Like he wasn't ready to like end it or nothing like that. He was like on the edge of it though. So to relieve the pain, he's just walking through I'm not gonna say the whole thing, but he's walking through a park just to relieve the pain, go into his thoughts, and like try and chill himself out to the least. And he gets mugged, and this is to show you how me and EQ met. He comes out, he gets up, and he's all drunk and all that. He comes and saves me. And that's the motivation for my character, that there is good still in the world. And then two, Mouse, like this is not really that much to the story, but it can kind of work for some things. But I just wanted to quickly specify that Mouse does have parents, and like for me, I don't know if I am gonna, well, I will use my parents in maybe a few scenes, but I don't know if I'm gonna use him. Give me a second. I don't know if I'm gonna use my dog.
Second,
I might.
what's his name?
Samson.
Oh, awesome. That guy's great.
Super nice. But the third thing was about the rat storyline. So I wanted to, one day I was just thinking, just out of character, I was just thinking, like, oh yeah, I wanna have my character go bad for an episode or a little bit of time. And then I thought, what if it was a virus or something like that, like a computer chip implanted or attached to him. And then for a while, I legitimately wrote a whole story for it. And like, oh yeah, we had these guys from Rat Corp do this and all that. And Rat is just so me is I'm just Mouse. I'm my normal self. Besides, I'm not depressed, I'm not sad or anything really, but I'm trying to give off that vibe that he is sad a lot of the time. But uh Rat is like, I don't want to do it right now because it will look silly. Because I haven't really thought of, oh yeah, this is how he exactly is. But I have somewhat of an idea for it. He's like all, I don't want to say Joker, but he's like insane whenever he goes that way. He like they can go into a room or something at the people at Rat Corp, which I'm going to change to the ninja people. They will do something like they'll go somewhere in their little facility where they have their main base, and uh they have it attached to me. So what they'll do is they'll do something, and they'll make me do whatever they want me to, and they'll still be able to see all that. And Rat is that's why I wanted him to be insane, not straight. Oh yeah, he's just a ordinary villain, or oh yeah, he's just some random thing happening to this kid. No, it's a villain doing something to a kid. Or like other people like I don't know AK Wonder, I think that's how you say it, right? Yeah, okay. Like she said, I think at least, that they could be different, like they could be just heroes, but they're, what's it called, they're like wanting to, they're doing stuff, they're doing the same JFH stuff, but for a different reason. Like they don't do it all nice and save day stuff. No, they're doing it all bad. And I yeah, this second I'm trying to get everything I can that doesn't really spoil that much, but could spoil a lot, but I'm throwing it out there. And yeah, I think that's it. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm gonna talk a long time.
Is Rat so Rat is a villain? Is that somebody that you would cast, that you have in mind, like casted for that in your town?
No, legitimately, it's the person that made Rat happen was the ninjas, like I said, but I am technically gonna be playing two characters
Yeah, so
whenever Rat appears. Like
Rat
it's
is
not
yeah.
Rat's not a different person. It's me acting the same guy. Just I want it to where he's like, oh, I'm sad, all that, and then boom, he just goes insane at some point. Like for example, maybe we could have a mission with just like, oh yeah, I'm back with EQ for a mission, or I'm back with somebody for a mission, and I just go all out insane and start fighting them. But because of me being a kid, like a 15-year-old kid, I cannot just knock him out or kill him or anything. I'm just gonna start throwing punches at him and looking all spooky, they're trying to get him. But no matter what, the because of them picking Mouse, he's not like all strong. They think he is because it's just, even though, yeah, it's just a kid. Uh, Now I want to say this. I feel like what I want to have for them is like they're experimenting with random JFH people that they can, like, they found me, bopped me over the head, brought me somewhere, implanted me, put me back where I was somehow, while keeping me like gone for a while, like asleep, but not like full on knocked out, just asleep. Brought me there, brought me back. Boom. I just wake up same spot. But I don't know if I want that or I'm doing something else. I have no clue. I'm just there, like I said.
That's super compelling. So Rat comes about because there's an organization that the ninjas are essentially utilizing some form of, or at least this faction of the ninjas is utilizing some form of technology that, again, the second you mentioned this, is like my head started spinning. So that essentially can control.
I don't know how complex it is, but yeah, I didn't want to say this immediately because I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep blabbering about it, and then I'm gonna keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over. And yeah, I didn't want to, but I did. But yeah, it's like, I want to say some faction of them, and they somehow acquired something to control a kid or a person.
That's awesome. I mean,
And I wanna say, but I wanted to say this now and like give it to people. So if they want to also do something like have their character, like they codenamed that guy as Rat because of me being Mouse, so they could have themselves if they wanted to. I'm not saying they have to. I'm not saying they need to. I'm saying if they want to, they can use the Rat stuff, but they can change it up and get a new name for their character and have it to where they're controlling them. But what I wanted to happen was either I ghost to somebody or I somehow throw it out, like I break it off or something happens and Rat's just gone and you never get to see Rat again. But I might do a flashback. I don't know. That's the thing about this. I'm throwing ideas into the wind and I don't know where they're going, but they're going where.
No, that's how you get them out. I mean, that's awesome. I think that the really interesting thing is the question I have is when does how do you know Rat is ever gone? Like, how do you know when? Because now I'm thinking about how you get tagged. Because this is really interesting. If like if you have a scuffle with somebody, and like, there is the get knocked out, get taken somewhere, get taken back. But what if the technology was sophisticated enough where essentially they slap it on you, and then all of a sudden you're implanted, And
Yeah, a lot of this I'm just throwing. That's why I said that.
yeah, no, I'm like what I'm thinking is I'm just kind of wondering for your character. To me, it's interesting to feel like you've overcome something, but then that thing can show up later on in life. I mean, that's a general mechanic of living, like sometimes you experience the old pattern again. And so, if Rat was, if somehow you become Rat through these ninjas and interaction with them, and then EQ helps you solve the problem and purge yourself of Rat perceivably, like it seems like it's gone, but then there's something that gives the audience a clue that it may not be fully gone. That to me is just an interesting thing to contemplate, because that means that over time that makes your character that much more compelling in terms of following you. It's like, is this guy,
is Rat gone?
Yeah, is he fully gone? And especially as and I think that we're as we close this up, like it's really important to recognize that part of how we're going to be picking where we're traveling on tour is based on who's creating content and who's creating a certain quality of content. Like both scale and quality are important. So it's just like, okay, cool. Like we know these heroes are making stuff over here. Like, okay, we're going to Kentucky, we're going to Texas, we're going to, we're going to Florida, we're in LA and we're in New York. So it's like, okay, I'm not saying we're going to any all those places, but that's part of how we're going to be figuring out where to plan the tour. No matter where we go, especially because of this meetup, you've helped to clarify what the end result of that tour is going to be. And so that's super important. But it's really interesting that in the story that you're putting together, that you being in the consistently elevating JFH content, especially as it comes to the main story of the app itself, people would be concerned as they watch your character elevate, concerned for other characters, knowing that at any given moment, this rat character aspect of yourself could return, and then what's going to happen to everybody else if that happens. That to me is just an interesting thing to contemplate.
Now, I wanted to, I should have already specified it, but I was talking with EQ, his name's Albert, but he went and we were just talking, and I told him about Rat. The first day I told him about it, he told me, maybe do it in your series, like whenever we split up. Because once me and him split up, I could be working with him again, just some random mission. It's like, oh yeah, 2 people are needed and I'm the only other one there, and I see EQ and I'm like, oh shoot, he's here. And then me and him could just work together for a mission, and then that's when he does it. But it's like I'm still in I wanted to have it in my own the Mousetrap series, which just to say something, we don't have a name for whenever me and him have our episodes and all that. We don't have a name for it yet. Whenever we do, like we have to sit down and think about it. But yeah, whenever we do, I think we'll like say it at some point.
That's all. So that's awesome. So you guys have really clarified the difference between his series, your series, and your joint narratives together. That's awesome, man.
We start together and then we end apart, and then sometime in my series I appear, and then sometime in his I appear, or sometime in mine he appears, sometime in his I appear, if that makes sense.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing.
Like a family reunion happens again.
We're always here for the workshopping, and I always appreciate all the stuff you send on Instagram. So thank you. And Guru Merkaba, any final words?
No, Mouse, just some food for thought for you too. That also leaves open for you to be able to journey out and figure out like, how do you get rid of Rat? Like really find out how you can get rid of it. Gives you like an opportunity to team up with other heroes. Maybe they'll be able to like, I don't know, go in and try and help reprogram your mind, or be able to, whatever it is. But just kind of food for thought. That was it.
Try and mess up the system, or
Right.
Because I feel like if there is a war between the ninjas and JFH and all that, if the end result is the ninjas are gone, there's no more but one, it would that would be perfect, because then the Rat thing could still be going. Like I took out the guy, or I took out the group that, or me and whoever, we took out the group that made Rat happen. But then the one guy that we actually left alive still knows about Rat. I don't know. That's why I'm saying I'm just throwing ideas into the wind, seeing where it's going.
These are all awesome ideas, guys, and thank you everybody for making this one of the most powerful like content ideation, like story development sessions that we've had. The most powerful one that we've had. This is a big deal. And so I'm like I said, thank you guys. Have an amazing weekend. I hope that you've signed up for the content team. Message me too, like just
I did.
Oh, what was that, EQ? What was that, Mouse?
I did.
You signed up. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, great. So yeah, we'll figure out in the coming days. We'll pick a day that's good for everybody. We'll make a private chat just around that, and it'll be great. So thank you guys so much again. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We love you guys. So deeply appreciative of your time, your energy, your creativity. You know, like I said, this is us. This has never been done before. We are all like trailblazing together. So this is very humbling. Every time.
I don't know if it would be good for everybody, but for me it would be like Saturday and late Sunday, or like late Friday, something like that. Cause I have church on Wednesday, early Sunday is like church also, and then Saturday I'm free, and like late for some of the weekdays I'm free, but not really fully. That's why I'm saying Saturday would be the best for me. And I don't know for anybody else. Just for me, it would be great for Saturday. But
Well, thank you for saying that, because that helps. And I assume that during the week you have like school, I assume. Okay, so yeah, we'll figure this out.
yeah, I'm in high school still, so.
Yeah, I was in high school at 1.2. Thank you guys so much. We'll figure the schedule out in the coming days. Have an amazing weekend, and thank you again, guys. We love you guys. Have a great night. Have a great day. Cheers.